There we go. Catfight. Okay, nothing better than a Republican catfight. And it's on like Donkey Kong today. Ted Cruz taking on the establishment Republicans. What he'd like to do is shut down the government so that we defund Obamacare. One of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. Go ahead, Ted.
The problem right now is we don't have Republicans willing to stand up and do this. The way to defund it is we need 41 Republicans in the Senate or 218 Republicans in the House to stand together, to join me, to join Mike Lee, to join Marco Rubio, all of whom have said we will not vote for a single continuing resolution that funds even a penny of Obamacare. There are a lot of Republicans in Washington who are scared. The next step is that Harry Reid and President Obama will scream and yell that the mean, nasty Republicans are trying to shut down the federal government in order to defund Obamacare. A lot of Republicans are scared of that right now.
Is there a guy who looks more smug in the whole country? That face is like, please, I know everything. Except you schmuck, you apparently have no idea how the United States government works. It's not just me saying it now, it's the rest of the Republicans turning on him. And it's not just because they're establishment guys. It's guys like Tom Coburn, who has a 99 rating as a conservative, 99 out of 100. You think Tom Coburn isn't conservative enough? No. First of all, here Cruz explains one more thing. This represents our best opportunity to actually defund Obamacare and potentially our last good opportunity to do so. Now, here comes the rest of the Republicans to explain reality to Ted Cruz. Susan Collins says, so the effect of trying to repeal the funding of government inevitability leads to a government shutdown, which I do not believe is good policy or good politics. The American people want common sense solutions. They don't want us to pursue policies that are pointless, that are going to end in government shutting down, more partisanship, more gridlock. They want us to actually get things done. And understand, if you shut down the government, well, as we're about to explain, it actually doesn't do anything about Obamacare, which is awesome. Second of all, who do you think is going to get blamed? You guys are the ones screaming, we like to shut the government down. And then nothing gets done. This is such a disastrous idea, not just in policy, but definitely in politics too. We've seen this movie before, and it winds up with Clinton getting reelected and the Democrats getting back in charge. Okay, you might say it's different times, but here comes the rest of the senators to try to explain things to Ted Cruz. And by the way, also to Lee and Rand Paul as well. McCain says, I'm not sure why we should advocate for something that's absolutely impossible. The only way Obamacare is going to be repealed is with a 60-vote Republican Senate. And then in order to override a presidential veto, I think it's 67 votes. Well, you're right about that. And so, Ted Cruz, do you know how government works? So yes, the House, since it's controlled by Republicans, if you all stand together, you can pass any bill you like. We already know that because they've already voted to defund Obamacare 40 times. And 40 times it went to the Senate and lost. But apparently these knuckleheads don't understand math. So they're like, what if we do it the 41st time? But McCain explains here, how are you going to get 67 votes? We don't have 67 Republicans. We don't have anywhere near that. We don't even have the majority. What on God's green earth are you talking about? And he goes to the president. If he vetoes it, that's when you need the 67 votes. And of course he's going to veto it. His name is Obama. It's called Obamacare. How dumb are you, you dumb, smug prick? All right, anyway. John McCain continues. If the minority uses its strength, its 41 votes to filibuster government funding, then clearly the American people will blame Congress. And they do. That's the history. And those who say that's not the case ignore the lessons of history and the realities of American politics. But my favorite is Tom Coburn, who's going to come in and educate here. He says, the only way that this strategy works is if you're going to take the hostage and shoot it, which means you're never going to open the government back up until Obama says uncle. He says, okay, now what's the likelihood of that? And what is the probability that members of the Senate will hold on to that? It's about zero. And then Coburn continues, if your strategy is to hold government funding hostage to defund Obamacare, the Congressional Research Service says, as you do that, guess what's going to happen? Funding for Obamacare is going to continue. Congressional Research Service is nonpartisan. They just tell you what the facts of the bills are. So, ironically, as they would shut down things like the FBI, your Social Security checks, just about everything the government does, the one thing they couldn't defund is Obamacare. how monumentally stupid is Ted Cruz as he has that face like, if we just stick together, we can change the laws of math and all the rules of the Senate and of the entire government. We can't? Really? Then why do I have this smug prick face on my face?